I honestly do think, and it's all because of people like you who give us, the content, who say, look, let's do it this way, who criticize, who motivate, and most importantly, who listen. Kudos to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Kudos to you all. Anyway, so let's get to our final conversation this morning, and it is a very controversial one. It's one that splits people east, west, north, and south, and it is one of human rights, or is it? Well, we are about to find out from you. Now, this first story report I'm going to read for you right now is not from Nigeria, but there's a Nigerian story. But let's get to listen to the report from, of all places, Luxembourg. You know that Luxembourg, one of the smallest countries in all of Europe. Very cute, very quaint little type country. Population is less than what, if I'm not mistaken, less than 5 million. So virtually everybody kind of like knows everybody. The government is pretty much at the people's beck and call. They knock at their doors. February 14th, 2024, something very interesting happened. Right? Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, sometime last year, 15th of December, a new legislation was formally introduced into the city, right? Luxembourg city itself. Now, in a controversial move opposed by human rights activists and charity workers, Luxembourg has recently banned begging in the streets of its very wealthy capital, Luxembourg City. Now, like I said, it was introduced formally last year, December, by the Home Affairs Minister, Leon Glodin. Now, his predecessor, Tanya Bofferding, fiercely opposed it. Now, it was initially approved by the City Council March of last year, right? But the former council head prevented the National Police from enforcing the ban. It's now about 3 months now. The ban has been enforced since January 15th of this year, following a citywide information campaign. So they told everybody from so and so day, no more begging on the streets. No more. We have banned it. Now, the reason why they are banning it is because, according to the council, some groups, some criminal-like gangs, all right, started to abuse that particular practice, talking about begging, because they would come and then 2 or 3 people will go around you. Oh, give us 10p, give us 10 pounds or 10 euros. If you don't, they start to harass you. In some cases, there's even, in quotes, aggressive begging, where they beg you whilst you're on the road down to your car and come back. How does that sound familiar? If you live in Port Harcourt, you may have had that experience. Let's come back to Port Harcourt now. It's known as show me love. Show me love, show me love. Now, there are different forms of showing you love, right? You have the aggressive and then not so aggressive. These days, and I've seen them, some of you have, you get to the supermarkets, all right? As you're coming up, you see people begging. Some of them teenagers, some of them children, some of them adults. In some cases, like what happened to me last week, coming down, walking to the office, all right? A full-grown man, able-bodied, say, bros, I beg, give me money, make a chop. In my stomach, I was hurt. At the same time, I was angry, but I was hurt as well, because this is somebody who's like me, but he was begging. Obviously, don't carry cash anymore these days. If you know my transport money, I try not to carry any more cash. So on any given day, most you can find on my person is about 500 or 1,000 naira notes, apart from when I'm going to the market. And I honestly didn't have. But you see, Borno State banned begging and loitering last year, October. Now, this is where our conversation is hinged upon. You see, in Luxembourg, a very wealthy nation, they ban begging in this main city, talking about Luxembourg City. Borno State, that has a very high poverty capital index, rather, is also banning begging, or has said to ban begging, street begging. Now, in Borno State, street begging and this is about, I always intrigues me when I see this report. Aimless loitering are not in our character. We are dignified people. That's the government, the Borno State government. So, who are these people who are begging then, if they are so dignified? leading me to my question this jolly Monday morning. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, do you think that banning beggars and begging is an assault on the fundamental human rights? Should it be banned? After all, the beggars are not as it were forcing you to give them money, or are they? And secondly, if begging has been banned, how should you then offer aid to the less privileged in your neighborhood? My name is Jude. Welcome to Hello Port Harcourt.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
Port Harcourt with Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
017-923-0002, 017-923-0007, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0007. All right, 20 minutes gone past the hour. You can find us on WhatsApp 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. Should begging be banned across the federation? And if it is, how should you then offer help, aid to the less privileged? 90.3, good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Good morning, Jude.
Good morning.
I'm DK Emeka.
Welcome, Emeka.
For issue of that begging, I think I vote for them to stop begging, even in the street. That is my opinion.
So, if they stop begging, right, how do we then help the poor people in the society? What do we do?
When we need to help people, we know the help people that help them. It's not by begging on the street that will make them to help them.
But do you know that if you stop someone from begging, you are likely, or do you agree rather, that you are maybe infringing on the human rights, the rights to associate? I can come and greet you now, say, Emeka, how far now are you there now? Find me small something. I have a right to do that, don't I?
It's not in public. I cannot be in public. If you want to beg me something, you can come to my house or my working place. So I will know that you came for begging. Not when I was walking in the street, you came and you come and say I should give you something. It's very, very bad.
It's very bad.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Emeka says it's very bad. You can come to my house and ask me for a favor. But once again, won't you see that? So just imagine if you have somebody who says, you know what, I want to be begging. And don't forget, begging has been with humanity for generations, eons. Let's not kid ourselves. It's not an African thing alone. Although some would argue that maybe, the concept of begging, came after the colonization. Historically, some would argue that beggars were not found in a lot of streets or in a lot of communities in Africa. We'll use Nigeria. Let's not generalize. Let's keep it at Africa. All right. So, if you ban begging, and once again, it can be offensive. If you look at it the way it is done in River State, all right? The show me love that sometimes just the way it is in Luxembourg. I can't even believe I'm reading this from Luxembourg, right? Just the way it is where it becomes aggressive. Somebody's walking, hey, bro, show me love now. Where they go? I'll show you. Now we day the area, now we they look the place. Excuse you? Why do I have to give you anything for looking after the place? Now, if that is banned, let's assume there is a blanket statement. Once again, it's a blanket statement. Begging is banned. A lot of these people who are beggars, who are genuine beggars. We're not talking about those who pretend to beg so that because they don't have any job. We're talking about those who, maybe are out of luck, maybe they're disabled, maybe some of them are even mentally challenged. We know that the welfare system here is not great. So what then do we do? How then do we help the less privileged? How then? If you are in Port Harcourt and you have never had anybody walk up to you on the streets of Port Harcourt, sometimes even in the supermarket, Let's assume you have a fancy car, you have been driving around, you have not encountered them the way Jude has been encountering them. But you've entered the supermarket and you've never had somebody come and meet you and say, bros, good morning, oh, you look good. Please, can you help me buy bread? Ladies and gentlemen, it has happened to me twice. And I'll tell you the stories. But for now, WhatsApp 0809-030-6416. Jude, street begging should be banned. The church should be forced to feast. Wow. Look at that. That's how that happened. The church should be forced to feed the beggars because they are children of God. Really? That's from Obuoing. So let's lump it up, right? So let's put the mosque as well, all right? Church, you are saying that street begging should be banned, and then this religious group should now be made to feed the beggars because they are children of God. Am I not a child of God? Who's going to feed me? In Luxembourg, opposers of this ban say it is an affront on humanity. You are basically preventing somebody from doing something that is humanly acceptable to them. They're in a tight spot. They don't want to steal. They don't want to kill. But they are, in quotes, trying to appeal to your conscience by begging. After all, almost everybody has begged. Or have you? We'll come back. others to grant a favor, often a gift of money, with little or no expectation of reciprocation. That is, the person who is begging you is not begging you, with the promise that, okay, if you give me now, next time I will give you back. No. It's not. A person who does that is called a beggar or a panhandler. Now, this morning in Europe, it became a big issue from the onset of COVID, after the restrictions and all those things that happened afterwards, and it led to the point where it's now being banned in Luxembourg City. This was last year into this year. Borno State government last year also banned begging for interestingly similar and not so similar reasons. My question: is begging an affront on somebody's human rights? Some people, particularly in Europe, believe so. In fact, let me read an excerpt from an article on the subject matter. And this is by Anna Compascia. All right, she's a policy assistant. Now, this reads that the criminalization of begging indirectly penalizes homelessness and poverty, and hence it punishes the people who have few or no other options to earn money. Begging bans are often only the tip of the iceberg. Many other measures are used to punish or fine poor people and those considered undesirable by policymakers, business owners, good people of several communities, and for disrupting public order by simply using public space. So you see, public space, we're all meant to be able to walk on the streets. So if you walk up to Jude and say, hi, hello, okay. But if you always say, hi, I'm not forcing me to greet you, I might see that as a problem. But you have the right to come and greet me. But do you have the right to come and beg money from me? When we come back from this headline news, we'll get to read more of your messages and find out from you. Begging ban, are you in support? And more importantly, if you ban begging, how then do you offer aid to the poor, to the less privileged around you?
Headline
this morning on Hello Port Harcourt. All right, so WhatsApp number is 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. Should begging be banned? And if you agree, yes or no, let's find out. How then should you offer aid to the less privileged? These are the two questions I'd like for you to get to us this morning. The Borno State government banned street begging last year in October. Begging, and interestingly, loitering. In fact, let me read that once again. All right, this is from the Punch newspaper, by the way, so you can go online and get to read this particular report. All right, this is to inform members of the public that the Borno State government has placed a strict ban on all street begging, loitering, and gallivanting within and around Maiduguri metropolis and Jere local government areas. The notice said the ban was with immediate effect, warning that violators will be prosecuted. Now, a lot of people who are actually begging in Borno, in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, anywhere in Nigeria, are doing so because they really don't have any other option. They really don't have any other option. Although, yes, we've seen in recent years, we've seen stories, investigations have actually shown some people who are pretend beggars. You know, they beg their way to thousands of naira and then boom, some of them even buy cars. This is no joke. This is happening. It's happening in Lagos, it's happening in Port Harcourt, where guys were caught. You know, somebody begs in Port Harcourt, goes to Bayelsa and feeds his family. It's a real problem, right? But then, whilst that is ongoing and people are trying to find a lasting solution to that scenario, you now have people who are really at the brunt, they are the runt of the ladder when it comes to society. Some of them are destitute. Some of them are mentally and sometimes physically challenged. And then they need to eat. How do they eat? When they are not aggressive, they don't carry arms, they don't beat people, they don't rob, they don't steal, they beg. So if you say no more begging, what do you want them to do? And don't forget, many people, including I and you, if people don't beg us, we probably will not give the 15 naira, 100 naira we have in our back pocket. We just walk past. How am I meant to know if you are well dressed? How am I meant to know that you have not eaten in 2 days? If you don't beg me, if you don't tell me, if you don't ask me. Phone lines 017-923-0002, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0003. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X this morning. Once again, talking about begging. Some interesting views. Let's get to share them with you. Brightner from Moji says, yes, begging should be banned for good. And to solve this begging spree, everyone found begging should be sent straight to prison. Jude, believe me or not, most beggars now in Rivers State have taken begging as their office work. Last week, I saw a man that claims to be a poor beggar, eating better yam porridge with huge meat by 8 a.m. Meanwhile, my stomach was empty. What we now have is called white collar beggars. Right now, from Woji. White collar beggars. All right, let's get to hear from Okonkwo, who's speaking to us from Rumukuta Ode. Zion is speaking to us from Jerry. Zion, good morning to you, please.
Jude, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for this discourse. Clearly, I want to state it. Begging should not be banned. Begging was a calamity. Stealing was a calamity brought to us by the Europeans. There are historical facts. We speak with facts and figures. 2nd February 1835, a man named Lord Macaulay gave a statement in the British Parliament record it and go do your studies carefully. And in a few words, he said, I have traveled across the length and breadth of Africa, and I have not seen one.
Oh dear. Zion, you have to call back. That's not us. That's obviously a job call scenario from the service provider. So please do call us. All right. So there are other lines. 08179230002. 08179230007. All right. 08179230002. 08179230007. All right. Let's get to WhatsApp now. This person said, "You good morning. They never beg you for this particular before. If you see the way boys used to beg, sometimes they will gather you, beg you, and then rob you. Please, begging should be banned. We know that there are poor people. Let all the poor people and those who are really in need, let them gather at a place. And if you have money, go and give them. That way, we solve this very bad habit." Interesting. Does that make sense to you? Calvin is saying they should ban begging, but if people who are dislodged, displaced, they should go to one place. And if you have anything, just go to that place and then, give them whatever you want. Zion, good morning to you. Welcome back.
Wow, thank you very much, Jude.
Thank you very much for your patience and for returning the call. Zion, I just read a message. Somebody says that they should ban begging, but the beggars should be in one place. All the people who are poor, all of us can go and be giving them money. Do you agree with that?
No, sir.
Why?
No, sir. That is not in our culture or tradition. I was trying to state something obvious to you, and I want to reiterate. These were his comments, Lord Macaulay's 2nd February 1835 to the British Parliament. I've not seen one man that is a beggar or a thief. Do you hear what I'm telling you, Jude? Across the length and breadth of Africa, not one person is a thief or a beggar. But how do we break these people? They now send some of their think tank. Oh, they are religious people, very spiritual people. And their culture, they believe in their heritage. No African culture believes in begging. Not one African culture. That is why even in historical fact, in most of the epic movies, they never replicated anybody as a beggar in that community. Go and check carefully. You cannot remove begging because it's a pandemic that was brought to us. But if you want to remove it, then reinstate us to who we are as Africans.
Which is?
I've given a date, I've given a time. Those listening in the world is listening to one see or the SARS. I don't believe in talking carelessly. I'm giving you a fact now. Can you give us back our jobs? Give us our heritage, our culture and tradition.
Okay.
You know that there are people that were dancing in African culture just to dance our traditional dance. They are being paid by the community. For men wrestling, they are being paid. For farming, having the highest pound, going to the market, selling, they are being paid.
Zion, let me ask you. Let me ask you this question, Zion. All right. Now, in Luxembourg, which is a rich country, they are also banning begging, and their reason is because some gangs, some people started to use it to disturb the streets, to harass people. All right, and we've seen that here in Port Harcourt. People come and greet you and say, "Hey, show me love." If you don't show them love, next thing they're touching you one way or the other. But the right to talk to people on the road is one given to us by God or by nature. If you say people shouldn't beg, do you believe that it's an infringement on their human rights?
Like I postulated, don't ban begging us. Our leaders cannot define it. Even the people who call our political leaders were never prepared. So they don't know what is it. Just like a child that has not prepared to write WAEC, then go write WAEC, he go fail. Not be so. So the people who are not prepared to be in governance, give them political office, they will fail. If you give us what we are meant to be, what are the necessities, they will not beg you. By the grace of God, I have some businesses outside, sir. Initially, it was a 10 plate of food that each cost 2,500 naira, free for beggars. But now, we have reduced it to, listen, we don't reduce them. Do they come? Yes. They come every day. I beg no food, help us. In fact, we even put meat at all. Just give us. You know this thing, they touch person.
Okay.
You know, if they give person, they depress person. So don't remove it. People have been helping and God has blessing people. Even the Bible said that this carefully. Blessed is the hand that giveth. There are some breakthrough you will get is through giving.
All right, Zion, thank you very much. Okonkwo is speaking to us from Rumuokuta. Okonkwo, good morning to you, please.
Thank you, Brother Jude.
Good morning.
Happy New Monday from the Almighty God.
Welcome, thank you. I wish you the same.
I'm not in support of banning begging.
Okay.
Brother Jude, those who beg are the dumb, the deaf, the crippled, and we call them the physically challenged. If we ban it, who will take care of them? Because in this country, there's no provision from individual or from government. Banning, is it for them to die?
It's a good question.
Number two, those that are on wheelchair. Are you aware, Brother Jude, that many of them, about 20, 30 years ago, their bodies were complete. But through one unpredictable incident, or through one accident or the other, today they saw themselves on wheelchair.
Yeah.
And they begin to beg. So the people now saying, let it be banned. What if tomorrow, what they don't know come upon them? And in that situation for them to beg. See, Brother Jude, there are things that people are not supposed to talk of. Because it's only the Almighty God that knows about this world and about human life. Life is unpredictable. And the human environment is unpredictable. How will somebody talk of that? They don't have any person to help them. So they should be on the road. Then people passing, when they feel so compassionate on them, they give them money. So I am not in support of banning begging. Leave them alone, the physical challenge. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That was Okonkwo from Rumuokuta there. He's not in support of banning beggars. The government hasn't created social welfare, so there is no justification, according to him, for a ban on beggars. But like I said, the ban is enforced in Maiduguri as we speak. In Maiduguri is there. Ban begging, loitering, gallivanting, banned. Muriel, speaking to us from Okrika. Good morning to you, Muriel.
Thank you, Jude. Good morning.
Good morning, please.
Well, Jude, I just believe that when they said they want to ban begging, I hope it's not just our normal urgent 2K begging or begging bros or urgent 2K then fight.
Yeah, it's the ones on the street. That's the ones they say. I think the urgent 2K, you can be collecting on the phone. Yeah, they didn't ban that one.
Okay, that's good.
That's okay.
So, Jude, I think what the governor did is absolutely correct, and every state should adopt it. Look, the rate at which some persons, even with 2 hands, 2 legs, everything complete, is now a profession begging. There was a documentary I read about, in one of these foreign countries, about 2 guys that are known beggars. People to them over the years, they have been begging for years continuously. And they now secretly investigated these guys, and they now discovered that these guys own big mansions, they own businesses, and all this money they put begging. They are even richer, 100 times more than the people they are begging for. And with all those assets, they've not stopped. They kept on begging. And people were suggesting one or two that they should arrest and do that. But if you see their rights, after all, there's no law that stops anybody from begging. So, I think it has become a profession for some persons. Some people will go in some situations where you don't have any choice. You cannot feed. Instead of stealing, just beg. But when you beg, it is not in your blood. When you get something, you can set up small things. Sometimes you just see at some doctors for women, they'll just carry one or two children. Not even newborn babies. Sometimes you even see maybe a woman give birth to triplets or a turkey.
Yeah.
As very little babies who pity the woman, you give it to her, you supposed to give it. But there's a few children get to, they started working. She's still doing it. It's so sweet or relaxed, and people give you money. They don't know that those that are giving you money, they sweat, it comes from their sweat. So I approached one, I said, these children are big. You even have one small girl close to me that's helping you. Why don't you keep these children in house? Or put them in a government school. These children are big the age of going to school. Let them go to school. Carry water, carry water like your fellow women. And on also. Why is she begging? She will not even answer you. She's not doing that. And then if you let her give her that, come on. With bad mouth.
Wow. You've had this experience in Port Harcourt, Muriel?
Absolutely, dude. I most times I'm in Port Harcourt. So, yes, I have.
Wow.
Thank you, dude.
All right, thank you very much. Now, Miriam raises a great point. Some people start off because of the challenges of life, the vicissitudes not particularly favorable for them, but they don't leave that spot, right? Yes, you have children. Remember, there's a time in this country, I don't get to see them a lot these days. How many of you remember the Berbers? Our cousins from up near the Chad border who used to come around. They are nomads, right? You see them, with their turbans, their hair, light skin, they beg you, maramado. I grew up seeing those people, but I don't see a lot of them. In fact, there used to be, not that we're talking about this, there used to be somewhere off a bar road, beside, what's that building called? Is that Mandilas? Before my one, there's a street where you used to have former Ajib petrol station. I think it's now Oando, right? As you descend from the bridge, after you pass CFC bus stop, right? There's a petrol station there. I think, yeah. On the right, there used to be that area was an uncompleted building for a long time. They just used to be there. In the morning, they just come, they move around all the places in Port Harcourt. The children will beg you, my color, my color, my color. Sometimes you give because obviously they're not well kept. They look disheveled and everything. But yet, and that's one of the worst things that I think in the past 2 decades Nigerians were witnessing in front of them. It was happening in their eyes. You get to see a child. This girl cannot be more than 14, 15. Yet, somebody felt it was good to get her pregnant. And these people will have these babies on the street. And then they'll come back on the road and start begging. So all of them, whether they are from outside this country, whether they're disabled, they all fall under this category of individuals who are the brunt of the ladder in terms of society, and they resort to begging. So on one hand, yes, like Muriel said, some people have used it to enrich themselves while pretending to be what's that? The poorest of the poor. Yes. But then there are those who are genuinely incapacitated. What do you do? Ban? Prevent them when apparently there's no social structure for them? What to do? Confidence from Ozuzu Eche says, begging cannot be stopped too. Why? It has been there in time immemorial. Okay, all right. Moving on as we get ready to wrap up this morning. Okay, those ones are in Abuja and Lagos, and they are very entitled. That's from Anonymous. Those ones who beg. Say they are very entitled. So yes, they are these individuals. Do you then take a blanket solution for a problem that has different facets? The blind, the physically impaired. Yes, we know that it's a very difficult thing to analyze, really. Good morning, Jude. I am not in support of any ban for people who are beggars. The government in Borno says people who are loitering. Everybody loiters and wanders these days. People are looking for jobs. What do you want them to do? They should stand and ask the job to come and meet them. If they don't move around, please. If you don't have, don't give. That way, you can force these people to start to use their hands and their feet constructively. After all, I've seen some of these beggars now even start to sell pure water and even become mechanics here in Port Harcourt. Oh yes, that's true. That's true. There was one back then in the Lekaya estate. After a while, he became a mechanic. We'll be back.
Talk.